Hello and welcome to a Pokemon Go Christmas craft. Today we'll be making some of the kilometer eggs that you walk for in the game, and I'll be walking you through how to make one of these. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a magic ring with 8 stitches in it. So I'm going to bring my hook through to that back loop, pull it through, around and create my slip stitch, then going back in again to make my first single crochet. Then I'm making my second single crochet, then my third single crochet, then my fourth single crochet, fifth single crochet, almost got it, sixth single crochet, seventh single crochet, and eighth single crochet. Now, my magic rings don't tend to be perfect, but I usually hide the imperfections inside the craft. So as you can see there, I got a little bit of a tail. I'll tie that off when I get a little further on, and that way it won't come through the craft. So into that first stitch, I'm going to increase. Come on, me from the past, you're so slow, hurry up. Okay, well there's one, and then we'll go back in the same hole in my own time and make 2. There we go, that's my increase. Then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to increase. And there's 1 stitch. There's the second stitch. And then a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1, then 2. So what I'm going to do now is just tie that off, so that way it doesn't have that loose thread starting to come through the craft. There we go. All right, this is row 3. So I'm just going to grab a stitch, a string of a different color, and then that's going to be my stitch marker. You can use a regular stitch marker, but that just works out well for me. All right, now in the first stitch, we are going to do 2 single crochets to increase. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now we're going to increase again. So there's the first single crochet, then the second single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Alright, we're on to row 4 now, which means if you have a look in your patterns that's down below, we'll do an increase. So first stitch, single crochet there, there's the second single crochet, and 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6. Now we're going to increase again. So there's that first single crochet, then that second single crochet, and then single crochet for the next 4 stitches. Alrighty then, on to row 5. We're going to start off again with another increase. Just got to figure it out. I was looking through the screen at this point and it was a little bit blurry for me because it's only 2.7 inches, I think. So anyway, yeah, now we're on to doing the next 7 stitches. Single crochets in the next 7 stitches. Sorry. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Increase. And then 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches just to finish it off. Ooh, hang on. Guess you can't be perfect. Row 6. Thank you very much, past me. Alright, we are going to start off again with another increase. Then 1 single crochet in the next 8 stitches. So if you want to make a really short, pudgy little Pokemon Go egg, you can stop increasing on this row, and doing so you have one of 2 options. See, I like to make the purple and yellow eggs a little bit bigger and the green eggs a little bit smaller. So once you're finished increasing, you usually go around for one more round just to make it a little bit longer. But if you want to make the green eggs, I like to skip this row. So short pudgy eggs, you stop at row 18 with the increasing. For the ones like how I've shown in the beginning of this video, we're going to go on to the next 2 rows to make a total of 22 stitches instead of 18. And for this row it was 2 increases, 1 single crochet in the next 8 stitches, 1 increase, and then 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. And in this row we're going to do an increase, then 1 single crochet in the next 9 stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then an increase, and you can start to see that it's starting to make a little cone shape now, which is just what we want. And there was that increase. So 1 single crochet in the next 7 stitches. Well, that's 1, and that's 2, and that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, and that's 7. Alright, that made a total of 20 stitches. Alright, here's the last row that you'll be increasing on. Alright, so the first one is going to be an increase, and then 1 single crochet in the next 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then another increase, and then one single crochet in the next 8 stitches. So I'm going to show you through the steps of how to make a purple one, but I'm going to finish this one off as being a green one. So I'll go back and take out the extra row I'm going to do. So you don't have to copy me, you can just keep going as is with the written instructions. Show you an example of what I meant by the little pudgy eggs. Here they are right here. So they're very cute. I like using them for keyrings. And this is the size comparison between stopping at row 18 versus stopping at row 22. In addition, I'm just going to do the normal way I use decreasing, but the one I'm showing you in my left hand, that one has used invisible decreases. So you can use either. So while we go over this next row, it's just going to be 22 stitches. Again, if you want to make a purple or yellow egg, I'm going to go back later and take this row out so I have a nice little green egg to put near the top of my tree. So you can take it out if just skip this row if you want to. But while we're going through trying to make our total of 22 stitches, I thought I'd just take a moment to thank everyone who watched the ad on this video. As I'm providing these patterns for free, it's how I'm going to make some of my money to keep making these and pay for materials and such. But even if you skip the ad or you want to help out even more, you can visit my Patreon and leave a little tip. That would be very much appreciated. And if you're a Patreon supporter, you get additional benefits. I've got a lot of rewards on there, especially if you love my art, and free monthly patterns, although you'll probably get a lot of that on here. You also get priority when it comes to sketch requests and crochet tutorials and craft tutorials on how to make things. Because I also do a range of clay making and crochet and a bit of sewing. So if that interests you, feel free to check the link in the description and that would be much appreciated. Okay, we've almost finished this row here and we're about to start decreasing. So the first row of decreasing, you can either use this method here, which is the looping through and then going 1 crochet in to do all 3, or you can use this method where you just go in through the front loop of the next 2 stitches, chaining 1 and then stitching. So I'm just going to use the method I was before just to make it a little bit quicker this time round, but I will be using the invisible stitch method when we go to make our pokeballs. So the first stitch is going to be a decrease and then 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Then we're going to do another decrease and single crochet in the next 3. So you'll notice a pattern here. We're going to go 4, 3, sorry, we're going to go decrease, 4, decrease, 3, decrease, 4, decrease, 3. And then at the end, we're going to have a total of 18 stitches. I think I must have made a mistake, so I'll just start that row again. And stop. Double time. Da 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 da. Doing this again. Da 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 da. Cause I stuffed up. Da 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 da. Almost at the end. Da 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 da. Of this reference. And almost at the end of that row. So that row was to make a total of 18 stitches using the decrease 4, decrease 3, decrease 4, decrease, and then 3. I'm pretty sure that was incorrect, but just ignore me. And in this row, we're going to be making a total of 14 stitches by first decreasing in that first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then decreasing again. And similar to this, similar to the pattern in the last one, the next chunk will be only 2 stitches because that's 1 less than 3. And then decrease. And then back up to doing 3 single crochets in the next stitch. Sorry, 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then a decrease, and then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and that'll make a total of 14. So if you stop at row 18 when you do your increases, then the next row you'll start with your decreases will be the one where you go from a total of 18 down to 14. So that'll be this row that we just finished. So I just did a decrease, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. There's 1, then 2, and then we're going to decrease. And then 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then decrease again. 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then another decrease, and then a single crochet. Okay guys, guess what? From this point onwards, it's just going to be straight up decreasing till you get to the end. So I'm just going to stuff this and I'll be right back. Thanks for waiting. Did you miss me? Okay, so now that we have stuffed our egg, we've got 14 stitches left, and we're just going to go from actually no, sorry, we had 10 stitches left. My mistake. So now that it's getting a little bit tighter, I'm going to use just a combination of the invisible decrease and my normal way of decreasing. But you can use either method, and you're just going to straight up just keep reducing stitches down until you get to the base. And then what you're going to do is loop it through 1 stitch on the side you're working on and a stitch on the other side, and then that'll just bring it a little bit closer together. And if you're concerned about, oh, maybe this little bit shouldn't be sticking out this much, or have I done that bit right, just leave yourself a good enough tail at the end, and you can flatten out your base by just sewing around. And you can do the same thing if there's a couple little minor holes that you want to fix up. Now would be a good time to add a little bit of extra stuffing. which I decided to do. Good on me. Stuff, 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 stuff. Get in there. There you go. Almost. And gotcha. Okay. So, back to decreasing. As you can see there, like I said, you're working on one side and you're going to start to go through and trying to get that stitch on the other side. Just to loop you through and then slip stitch that thread through. Looks a little tricky. It normally isn't, but just for that one, because I'm on camera. Alright, and then we're just going to trim off a decent amount of tail. And then I'm going to show you how to sew on the rest of it. And this is what the egg would look like if you used the invisible decrease and also went for that extra stitch. But like I said, I took that bit out. So we're just going to sew around some of the bigger holes I have because like I said, I didn't use the invisible decrease. And luckily the whole project is white, so once you are done fixing your mistakes and holes and tying it down, you can loop it through the entirely off-white piece and it won't be noticeable. So I've sped up this next part just because what you're going to do is you're going to create a magic ring. I like to use a magic ring of 4 and then later on a magic ring of 6 and a magic ring of 8. And then you do 2 single crochets in each of those stitches to pretty much double what you had. So if you have 4 stitches, that'll make 8. If you have 6 stitches, that'll make 12. 8 stitches will make 16. And so on. But my suggestion is you will need one of these with a really long tail, and I would recommend when you get around to sewing in the 8 magic ring one first and the 6 magic ring and leaving the 4 magic ringed one last, which means that when you do the 4 magic ring one, leave a really extra long tail because you're going to use that to kind of embroider in a few extra little spots here and there. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to make those spots just a little bit more uneven. So you might say if you were on the 6 to 12 stitches, you might just go maybe 3 stitches into the next row, and then you're going to finish up with a slip stitch. If you've got 4, you might only need to do 1 or 2 stitches into the next row and then finish off with a slip stitch. If you got the 8 to 16, you might want to go anywhere up to 5 stitches in, just so that way you make them look a bit more uneven on one side. And you can also vary this up a little bit more if you want to use if you want to use 2 single crochets some of the time and 1 single crochet other times, and then that way it'll look really wonky, and that'll come in handy when you're sewing on these odd little spots. Alright, and so basically now what we're just going to do is sew them around in a circle. In case you're wondering where I got this lovely, very accurate green colour from, I got it from Lincraft. They say 8-ply, but honestly when it stretches out it kind of goes to more of a 4-ply, maybe even a little less sometimes. So I really like to go in when they have their 40% off everything sale, because then you're really kind of getting your money's worth, and it can be a little bit frustrating at times because you have to do twice as many rows here and there for some of their wool because it just goes thinner. Sometimes their wool has a few more mistakes. But they tend to have the bigger variety of colours, which if you are in Australia, you know how hard it is to get variety of colours in anything. Cardboard, wool, clay, fabric. Oh god, the fabric. Honestly, that's the reason why I gave up doing cosplay. It wasn't because I wasn't good at it, although I would tend to make other people cosplay like in my costumes, because I am on the much bigger side, and honestly by the time I finished making the costume I was kind of exhausted, so I'd get people to wear the costumes that I made, but it just got to be that way where I was spending months outsourcing all of the crochet, all of the cosplay stuff and the fabric, and just stuff that should be just easy to find in Australia. It either wasn't, or you were paying through the nose for things that would only cost you a couple dollars online. So I stopped doing it. I'd love to get back into it, but it's been a couple years and they still haven't resolved that issue. I recently went to a kind of like a swap selling fabric meet that had a lot of scrapbooking stuff, and the lady there, in order to do all of her stuff, she wound up having to buy a lot of it in bulk and then sell off the excess, and quite a few card makers have had to do that with their stuff too. Some of them have even opened up their own stores in Australia, so then that way they can kind of offload all of the stuff that they've bought in bulk, that then once their friends have divvied up what they need, then they don't need a packet of 20 of the same stamp kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna speed this up just a little bit faster to get to the last step, which is the adding of the... And I hope you like some of the backstory about me. Yeah, used to be a sewer and a crafter, then I moved on to clay and crocheting and everything else, so I haven't changed that much. I've just kind of changed what medium I use. And the one thing I like about crochet is if you stuff up one part, then you haven't stuffed up like 20 hours worth of planning and cutting and then not having the fabric you need and stuff. So it's a very versatile craft. I really hope that more people get into it, especially now that, you know, plush toys are kind of expensive, what you want. Even though the quality's improved, it's can still be quite expensive. Like, I wanted to get the starter Pokemon for the new Pokemon game, and to get all three it was going to cost me $120, and I was like, well, you know what, I might make my favorite one at home, and so I've got a pattern for that, and I'll actually be uploading that one soon too, eventually, although I'm going to do a lot of Christmas stuff, a lot of Undertale and Pokemon Go, and see what else I have left for at the end of the year, because I do a lot of that kind of stuff art-wise on my page, and I have a few updates and things, but you know, we'll just see how everything goes. I really hope to do more of this kind of stuff in the future, because my dad, the next video you'll see, my dad's actually given me a stick he didn't need, so that way I can actually film overhead instead of doing it through the camera LCD lens, whatever you call it, the little tiny screen on the camera, because that made it very difficult to see what I was doing, dealing with light green on off-white. Oh, and if you're wondering where I got the off-white wool from, I got that from Big W. Only $3.50. So get some. So what I'm just doing here is I'm just using a much smaller crochet hook just to try and find a spot that I find satisfactory. The smaller hook will come in handy because you've got very tight stitches usually at the top with the magic ring. And all I'm doing is just like what you do if you had a bit of wool, just do a slip stitch into that loop. I just tied a knot on this one. I didn't do it with the other ones, just to keep it in place. And I used a very glittery red ribbon that I thought would suit, and got that just at a discount shop, $3, and I got a massive ribbon with it too, so I'm going to use that for Christmas. Showed it to Mum and she's like, oh my god, it's so soft. So there you have it, little Pokemon Go egg. Well, that's all for today. Tomorrow I'll be uploading the crochet Pokeball, so you can add that to your tree as well. If you like what I did today, please feel free to either rewatch this video with ad block turned off, or visit my Patreon, my Divine Art, my Tumblr, leave a tip, some suggestions. It would be fantastic, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!